Apex dropped their mid-season patch notes today, and I'm about to give you everything you need to know in the fastest amount of time possible. So while you're watching the background trailer, you'll see some new skins, but one of the biggest things were buffs and nerfs. Firstly, Loba got buffed tremendously, with the ultimate now starting at 99% charge instead of 50%. They added griefing protection as well and can now be remotely picked up. You can also now grab banners, and it does not consume a black market usage. You can now also open vaults without a key, but no evo is rewarded. Tactical also now has 2 charges, and they reduced attack toss time slightly and the recover time significantly. You also have passive changes where Loba can now ADS when unarmed to see the loot UI for items highlighted by her passive. They also changed some perks where they removed a lot but added new ones, being Wolf's Claw, where you can gain speed boost and significantly faster weapon draw after a teleport. Also, the entire squad can now receive gold backpacks when you select the brand new bag perk. And lastly, there's an escape artist new perk where Loba can regenerate 50 shield after teleporting with her attack, and the damage stops the regen. Fortunately, Pathfinder got the short end of the stick with a massive nerf here. The cooldown has now been increased to 30 seconds for the tactical instead of being variable based on how far you travel. This pretty much makes Pathfinder useless, or at least nowhere near as good as it used to be. The passive also has had some updates, but nothing too big. The perk Zipline Zen also has had a damage reduction to 25% instead of 50. Once again, nothing really that big of a deal besides the tactical. That one's a bad one. Mirage also got some changes with a big buff where you can now enter into the cloak with only 1 second instead of 1.5 seconds. You also enter into this cloak while using healing consumable items. After a revive, Mirage now has some increased speed while being cloaked. Now, the perks have been removed of Backpack and More Me. They added new ones called Boozle Eye and Renaissance Man. Boozle Eye bamboozles now also can scan the target who shot the clone. Renaissance Man, on the other hand, where you can gain access to all other classes world interactions, being assault bins, care package scans, survey beacons, and ring consoles. Alter also got a little bit of a buff here, with the cooldown being reduced to 120 seconds instead of 180 for the ultimate. No longer times out by default, and range increased to 300 meters instead of 200 meters. Eternal Nexus has been removed as a perk and moved to the base kit, and a new one, multi-dimensional, grants a second void nexus, and both can exist at the same time. Now for guns, select fire hop up will return tomorrow, and you can use it on the prowler and the charge rifle. Damage is reduced by 25% on the charge rifle, however, but it has an increased fire rate with recoil improvements when in auto. Charge rifle also got some changes in its base kit, where the increased ammo capacity from base is now 6, white is 7, blue is 8, purple is 9. Increased projectile size at closer ranges as well, increased projectile speed as well, and maximum damage for range scaling now achieved at 200 meters instead of 300 meters. Sorry, 45 damage was increased to 13 instead of 12, and the new Accelerator hop-up will be coming as well. It comes default with the Nemesis Burst AR, G7 Scout, and Car SMG. It increases Evo gained from damage and increases ultimate charge from damage as well. Nox will grant you 30% ult charge as long as an Accelerator weapon is equipped. Now let's talk Relic Weapons. New Relic Weapon, where the Devotion is basically getting an EMP, where you can do additional damage to surrounding enemies when you break an enemy's shield. The more damage done, the more powerful the EMP. Also, new Rift Relic boost kits, where the upgraded one unlocks and activates all legend upgrades while equipped. The emergency smoke one releases a vision obscuring smoke cloud at your location when you receive damage. The map pack occasionally pings enemies within range on your minimap for you and your allies, and the phase rewind, activating this one, will send you back to a previous location. Kind of reminds me of the Apex mobile legend phase. The Pulse Blade from Titanfall will also be available as a relic weapon in an enhanced version of the throwing knife that incorporates a small scan at the impact location and increased damage. On top of that, Launch Riel will be available January 7th through January the 20th, but it will feature all the maps like King's Canyon, World's Edge, Olympus, Stormpoint, Broken Moon, and District. However, despite this, many content creators, including one that's normally pretty positive, says the patch notes are pretty underwhelming. He doesn't see anything in the patch notes that actually make the game feel fresh. For what it's worth, I feel like I'll probably try it just because I've been playing so many other games and not limiting myself to Apex anymore, and it makes me want to play more of just about every game. I personally think doing variety and moving on to other things might not be the best business model and make you the most money, especially here on YouTube when most of your viewers want to watch one specific thing. But for me, it definitely keeps the fun involved, and it definitely keeps me sane. Not a fan of the Pathfinder nerf. They did admit that they would start insanely nerfing and insanely buffing legends to make the game feel a little bit different. So I guess we really shouldn't be surprised. What are your thoughts down below? Like and subscribe to stay up to date with everything going on in the scene, and we'll see you later. Probably the fastest patch notes video I've ever made.